How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about some super useful PVM unlocks that really everyone's probably going to want to get these at some point. I would recommend that you work towards these, and if you don't have all of them just yet, then maybe you can add them onto that list of unlocks that you're working towards and use these as like a short-term goal. It's always good to have short-term goals, so definitely add these to your list because these are really useful, and I use them almost every single day during PVM. Hopefully in this list there's something that you guys don't all have, and I'll also be explaining why you want to get these items as well, so that you're not just being told I'll get this without any idea why. But anyway, before we get started, do leave a like on the video, do subscribe if you are new, and if there's anything else that you can think of that's really worth getting, then leave it down in the comments down below, because of course I can't include all of them in the same video, as eventually it is going to start dragging. There's plenty of PVM unlocks left to get as well after these, so if you're interested, also let me know. I could do a part 2 to this as well. But anyway, that's enough for the intro, so let's get started, shall we? Okay, so one of the first unlocks that I would recommend you get is absolutely going to be DPS auras. You can unlock these from War himself. You just come to War and press shop, and then under the unlocks tab, you've got all your DPS auras in here. Now, these do cost marks of War, and 25k is quite a lot of boss kills to work towards. However, Dark Magic is a great aura to unlock as well. I use this all the time. If any of these other ones are off cooldown, I use Dark Magic all the time. 12.5k for Dark Magic is absolutely worth it, and I would highly recommend getting this and then working towards these as well. But once you've unlocked like things like Berserker, Reckless and Maniacal, you will not want to do PVM without these active. I promise you, once you notice the difference between using these and just your standard accuracy auras, you will not want to go back to using the other ones. So there's a lot of combat auras in this game, and of course like things like Supreme Sharpshooter and accuracy and stuff like that. Normal accuracy auras are absolutely great, but the DPS auras like Maniacal and Reckless make a hell of a lot of difference. And even though you do lose a little bit of defense when you activate these, I think you lose 15% or something like that, it really isn't that big of a deal. Because you're outputting so much more DPS, because your accuracy and your damage is boosted, you actually end up taking a lot less damage during fights because the fight's over quicker. You may be thinking, well, you know what, I'm going to be taking all this extra damage, I already use a lot of food. Just think about it this way: if your fight's over quicker, you're taking less damage and you're using less food. So definitely do work on unlocking these DPS auras, as you will use them for almost every single endgame boss once you have unlocked them. Makes your life a lot easier, makes kills a lot faster, and makes doing that endgame PVM just so much better. Alright, our next unlock is going to bring us here to Shattered Worlds. You can get to Shattered Worlds by teleporting to Lumbridge, and you'll go to the Lodestone, and then running out the back of the castle and just running through the swamp. Once you get here, you can do the minigame, and you will collect anima from doing this. You'll have to kill mobs and clear out each world from the portal. So once you clear the worlds here, you can equip me and feed me if you wanted to, so it doesn't cost you anything at all. As you go down this ladder of worlds, you'll get anima, and you can spend this at the reward shop at this Abyssal Knight just here. Now, once you've got enough anima, which costs 63 mil for the Bladed Dive ability, you can buy that and it will unlock basically like a second surge for you, except it's for melee. You have to have a melee main hand and offhand weapon equipped, unless you have laceration boots, and then you can just use a two-handed weapon. What you're going to be able to do is dash around like this, just like basically using surge, and it doesn't share the same cooldown with surge either. So you can use surge and you can use Bladed Dive at the exact same time, and you can fly a freaking long way. It is super useful. Now, this is also useful in a few other scenarios as well. It is very useful to use Bladed Dive to clear the pools at Raksha, and also in elite dungeons as well. You can avoid other mechanics with Bladed Dive, you can get out of the way of stuff. It is definitely an ability that I would recommend you do unlock. It doesn't take too long to unlock it. The 63 million anima will take a little while to grind out, but it's not a ridiculous amount where it's not worth getting the ability. You will use this ability all the time. You will find that most presets, I will show you mine at the moment, most presets in the game for bosses will always have a Bladed Dive switch on it, because it just makes life a lot easier. My Telos preset has a Bladed Dive, my next preset has a Bladed Dive. You can see where this is going. Every single preset will use a Bladed Dive switch, as it does just make it more convenient. It is super useful to have, and you will probably miss it if you don't take it once you have unlocked it. Our next unlock is going to be the Corruption Shot and the Corruption Blast abilities. These are both basic abilities, and they are both bleed abilities. They do the same thing, one is for range and one is for magic. But you unlock these from the Mazcab ability codex, which you can buy off the Grand Exchange or unlock during raids. But it is an AoE bleed that is super useful to have, and I will show you exactly how it works right now. So if you don't have this ability, I do highly recommend you get it, but basically, if you put this bleed on one single target, it will then spread to all nearby units. As you can see, these Chaos Dwarves over here are ticking for damage as well. The damage will start off high and it will slowly tick down, and it will do less damage each tick that it does do it, but it is a really useful ability to have, especially for clearing out AoE stuff like Elite Dungeons, but not only that, it is really useful even just on a single target boss too. Applying bleeds to bosses will increase your DPS by a lot, and if you're not using them, I highly recommend that you do start using bleeds, because you can stack them and it does add up to a lot of damage. For example, if I put my both my bleeds on the Serra Mage, you can see that they do stack together, and then we can pretty much just step off and watch their health tick away. This on a boss, of course, is a lot of damage over time, while you can use other abilities as well. So I do highly recommend that you do unlock this bleed, as using both of them together is something that you definitely want to be doing. Next up on the list is going to be Limitless ability. And what this does is it will allow you to use your threshold abilities below 50% adrenaline. So normally to fire off any threshold abilities, you would have to build up to 50% adrenaline and then you could fire one off. Even though these abilities only cost 15% adrenaline, you would have to be at 50% to be able to use one in the first place. This ability removes that and allows you to fire this off as soon as you have the initial cost of 15%. This ability is super useful in a lot of situations in high-end PVM, as it's going to allow you to get off more thresholds during your Death Swiftness, or just include more thresholds into your rotation. So what you will be able to do is drop your Death Swiftness, which would cost 100% adrenaline, and then use an adrenaline renewal or an adrenaline potion. If you use this and Limitless ability at the same time, you will be able to start using your thresholds immediately. Normally you would have to use Death Swiftness, adrenaline potion, and then build to 50% adrenaline, whereas with Limitless ability you can start firing thresholds immediately. You do not have to wait, you can just fire them off straight away. Of course, this means once it's been used, it will come off cooldown sooner as well, so if you get this off earlier in your Death Swiftness, you will be able to use another one before the Death Swiftness ends as well. This increases your DPS by a fair amount, and it is definitely worth unlocking this ability. You can see me using it here at Raksha to get off my thresholds as soon as I use Death Swiftness, and this actually allows me to clear the first phase without the Mage Bomb as well. Now, unlocking this ability is very expensive, so it's probably not going to be one of your first unlocks that you do get, but it is 100% going to be worth it further down the line. To unlock this ability, you would need to buy 2,000 Vital Sparks or farm them yourself. However, the current Grand Exchange price is looking around 385 mil to unlock this ability. However, once you have most of your other stuff unlocked, if you're looking for a good upgrade, this is definitely an ability that is worth your time looking into, and if you think you would make good use out of it, then I would highly recommend that you do get it. I put off getting this for so long, and now that I do have it, I use it almost every single boss fight that I do, and adding this into my rotation really wasn't that hard to get used to. Alright, so next we have the Dominion Mines. Dominion Mines take a lot of time to unlock, however, they are definitely a worthwhile investment in your time, as they're going to be super useful in endgame PVM if that is the sort of thing you're working towards. For any of you that have been around for a while on my channel, you've seen that I've been doing a road to 100 kills at ED1. Now, without Dominion Mines, these kills would have taken a hell of a long time, as Seiryu is easily done in a 2-cycle without ridiculously good gear, just by using Dominion Mines. So I use Dominion Mines to make sure I can 2-cycle this, bring in a kill that's probably about 8 to 10 minutes, down to about 5 minutes to 6 minutes. It saves a lot of time and they're absolutely worth using. What these do is you'll place 2 mines on the ground, or 1 if you want to, but you usually would place 2. And once these are placed, any enemy or any unit nearby will trigger these, and they deal 10,000 damage each. Which means for each of the crystal on Seiryu's back, you can see me using the Dominion's mines here. They do 10,000 damage each, meaning I can do an extra 20,000 damage for absolutely free. All I need to do is double click on these, it will drop 2 mines, and then they will blow up for 20,000 damage, saving me a lot of time. Mines are also useful at a lot of other bosses such as AOD, Solak, ED2, and they can even be used at Gregorovic and also at the Ambassador as well for the sinister fragments around the room. You usually won't use them for places like Greg and for Ambassador, but hey, the option's there, so if you want to use them, you absolutely can. As I said earlier, unlocking these can take some time, but it is absolutely worth doing. To unlock them, you will need to do 400 kills in the Dominion Tower, but you also are required to do some special matches against specific bosses, which means there does end up being quite a lot of quest requirements for these. But what I would suggest doing is giving Dominion Mines a quick Google search, going onto the RuneScape wiki, and on there you can enter your username, and it will actually show you exactly what quests you have left to do, and it makes keeping track of the Dominion Mine unlock very, very easy. While we are on the Dominion Tower, we might as well talk about Dreadnips. Dreadnips is the next one that I wanted to mention, as these are super useful as well in a lot of situations, and you also unlock these through the Dominion Tower as well. Now, to unlock Dreadnips, you need to get 450 kills and spectate another player's match inside the Dominion Tower. This isn't too hard to do, it does take a little bit of time to get to the 450 kills, but if you're going to 400 for the Dominion mines anyway, then you might as well go to 450 and get yourself some Dreadnips as well. Dreadnips are useful for a variety of reasons, but the main one that people like to use these for is extra DPS, along with the fact that you can also stun bosses with this. So the Dreadnip can do a normal attack, which of course adds to your DPS by just stacking up some damage extra as well, but also it has a short stun. You can use this at places like Telos, and it's especially useful in phase 5 where you can actually stun Telos and delay some of his mechanics. And to be honest, this is the main reason that I actually went and unlocked Dreadnips. It wasn't until I was actually learning Telos that I did unlock these, but these are useful in so many other situations. Dreadnips can also apply poison to a target as well, which can stack with your Cinderbanes and stack with your weapon poison, so it does increase a lot of damage per second. It bosses that you can actually poison. Currently, I use Dreadnips at a lot of places. I use them to help DPS the crystals down at Seiryu. I use them at Ambassador just to help get a little bit of extra damage in. I use them at Masuta as he is able to be poisoned, and basically any boss that is available to be poisoned and is worth getting some extra DPS in, these are absolutely worth using. Another great example is Solak as well. Dreadnips are 100% something that is worth your time unlocking, so you should definitely consider getting these, as you will find that you do use them quite a lot. Okay, so one last unlock that I wanted to mention in this video, and that is going to be the Ingenuity of the Humans. What this does is guarantee that the next ability that you use within 6 seconds of activating this ability will always hit. It has a 100% hit chance, it cannot miss, so no matter what combat style you're using, if you switch to something else, you will always have 100% accuracy, it will always hit. This is a super useful ability to have. Most people use this when they want to use their Saradomin God Bow, but they don't want to be using range. So for example, at Telos, I take my Saradomin God Bow Essence of Finality with me, and I can use this on phase 5 because it is super useful on Telos in phase 5, but because I'm using magic gear, if I did not use the Ingenuity of the Humans ability before firing the special attack, I would just miss. It would just all be a miss. It wouldn't be very good at all because my range bonuses would have been dropped by a hell of a lot being in magic gear. But if I use Ingenuity of the Humans before I fire that special attack off, it has to hit, it will always hit, and so it is absolutely worth getting this ability. You can use this in any situation that you want to make sure your next attack is going to hit. However, the majority of the time that I do use this is before a SGB spec or before using a Statius Warhammer Essence of Finality while in other gear as well. However, this ability is definitely something to keep in mind if you do get to the point where you need to guarantee a hit on your next attack. To get this ability, you literally just need to buy a codex for it off of the Grand Exchange. As of making this video, it is currently priced around about 150 mil, but of course those prices could change depending when you're watching this video. Okay, so that is the last unlock or the last PVM thing that I wanted to mention in this video. I hope that you found it interesting. I hope there's been something in here that you don't have or didn't know about, or maybe you did know about them all, but maybe you still enjoyed the video anyway. If you did, then leave a like on it. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new. And also, of course, if you do think of anything else that should be mentioned in a future video or should be mentioned in this one maybe, then drop a comment down below for what that is so other people can see it and other people can learn it as well. Before we end the video, I just wanted to give a quick heads up to everybody who may be interested. There is a link to my Twitch in the description down below if you're interested in following me there. A lot of my videos that I do are recorded live on Twitch, so that is always interesting to get you guys involved in that. And finally, I just wanted to say thank you to my channel members. Your extra support is absolutely amazing. I really do appreciate it. Your names will be on screen now. And for anyone else who is interested in supporting the channel while also getting a few perks, you can click the join button by the subscribe button and see what perks you can get while doing that. Anyway guys, I really appreciate you all listening to the video. I hope it has helped you out, and I will see you all in the next one. See you later guys. Bye.